In today's video, I will cover the best Deathblade Search endgame build that's perfect for valtan, vykas and everything in the game right now, all the way up until we get ancient gear. I will cover everything such as engravings, skills, runes, gems, card, gear sets, gear stats and skill rotations and much more. I will take into account that you know the basics about search. If you don't, I would recommend to watch the beginning of my older search build video that covers some of the basic stuff. With that said though, I will also give you information so you know what to use before you get the best in slot stuff. So let's get started with the engravings. So recently Search did receive a nerf. It is still really good when you know the fight, but it is harder to play, so it's not the best spec to progress content with, I would say. But when you get better at the content and learn the fights, Search will just get better and better as you improve. With the Search nerf now though, we do have to play Search level 3 because you do get extra damage at Search 2 and Search 3. And also the damage and death orb generation from the stacks are not linear anymore, so you have to go for the 20 stack search rotation. I will of course cover the skill rotation, but it will be later in the video. So you firstly want to go search level 3 and then you want to go master of ambush level 3 as well, since Deathblade is all about back attacks. As a third engraving, you should go grudge for the 20% damage, which is just crazy. You do take 20% more damage as well, forcing you to play your position better, which is gonna make you a better player. And also the content in Lost Ark, it's just really good to have more damage because it's less mechanics and it will just be easier to execute, and because of more damage you take less damage, right? Then lastly, we will go adrenaline for the attack power and 15% crit chance. As a fifth engraving, I would like to go Keen Blunt Weapon or Cursed Doll, but it's quite expensive at this point. So I went with Disrespect since I got it for almost free. It sadly doesn't work that well with the Valtan, since when he goes into ghost form, he gets back to 100% HP. But still, I got it for free and it's pretty fun to use. You could also take a look at Sight Focus or other uncommon engraving, since you can get a lot of those accessories for really cheap, meaning you can get a fifth engraving for almost free. But that covers the engravings. I think now though we're gonna go into the skills. So I have 390 points and maybe you have less, maybe you have more. But if you have less, I'm gonna of course guide you through how to set it up. So yeah, first skill is Wind Cut. I'm using Quick Prep and then Sustain Enhancement and then Fix Sword Energy. Really good to get stacks. If we go there and use this one once, we will get 4 stacks, right? You can see right there, 4 stacks. You can, however, swap the fixed sword energy to sword energy explosion, and this will grant you 5 stacks. But this doesn't increase the radius, and I just think it's more forgiving to use the other one, because 4 or 5 stack is not that big of a difference. If you are lacking skill points on this though, you will only go 7, so go these 2 only. So this is a really good skill to build stacks with. That's the main purpose. I will go through the skill rotation in the end of the video, so we will get there later. Then we have Spin Cut, Open Weakness for the party synergy. We have Quick Prep for cooldown reduction, and then Triple Spin. If you're lacking skill points, I would swap this down to 7 as well. I would however go Triple Spin before I put points into Wind Cut. So yeah, basically you get 3 stacks from this one. Really simple to use, right? Dark Axle, extremely good mobility skill, and without this it would be so much harder to play Blade, but with this one it just feels good, so good to be a back attacker. Swift Fingers for like faster use of the skill, right? Tenacity for push immunity, and High Axle to jump over the boss. Definitely want to spend all 10 points there. So like in case the boss is in the front, right? Literally use Dark Axle behind him and we can use back attack. Really good for mobility. Then we have a Soul Absorber, really good for death orb generation as well. You can use Concussionaire if you want more stagger. I usually run Swift Fingers, especially because of the tripods. We will go through tripods soon as well, don't worry. So Swift Fingers, Fist of Darkness for more damage, and then Half for more damage as well. So you charge this up like this and you hit it twice. Earth Cleaver, which is the counter. I go push for the extra distance. You can see he moves forward a bit, right? If you don't have that, it doesn't move forward. A bit more mobility. Weak Point Detection is what I currently use. I did use Darkness Injection for a bit, but I'm back to Weak Point Detection. Then Earth Explosion, that creates a, explosion, right? As you can see, to get more stacks. Because it will once when you push, is 1 stack, then the attack 2, and then you can hit additional one with the explosion, right? So you can get 3 stacks with it. If you're limited on skill points, I would just not spec this at all. You slowly spec this in later, especially the third earth explosion, right? Like you want to get up here, pretty good damage, but like overall you don't really need to spec it. Guess I can show you when I've done all the skills how I would spec it with really limited points. Maelstrom for orb control and Dark Order for the synergy with your group. You will never spec here in my opinion. Blitz Rush, really good damage skill. So Vital Point hit for crit, Charge Enhancement for more damage per charge up, Shadow Rush for even more damage. Simple skill, really good range, right? It's one of the skills when the boss do some circle around him, right? Like let's say like this here is actually damage. You can just like go back and then like charge it up. And you can still damage him. For example, when Valtan stands still and spin around, I usually just go behind him and it's perfect radius for me to actually use Blitz Rush while he spins and nobody else is like damaging him. So pretty good. Then we have Void Strike, which is really good for orb generation. So orb control, void zone, and dark dimension. So this skill is really insane when it comes to orb generation, right? I think this is up to 8. So you hold it full duration. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Which is crazy, right? If you try it again, the cool thing with this one is that you can just tap it as well, which is what I do most of the time. If you just tap it once, it will do this, and it will give you 3 stacks. And then, of course, if they stand in the pile, you will get even 6 stacks, right? If you can and the boss is not moving, you hold it in. If you think the boss is gonna move, you just press it once. Especially when you are gonna build up orb generation, you will usually mostly just tap it. Because it gives you around the same, which I guess I can show you. Use Maelstrom. Now we have a little bit there though, but whatever. Press it once. Gives quite a lot, especially if it ticks like that. If you hold it, it's not gonna give you that much more. Like it's pretty identical. So yeah, if you just want to build the orbs, just tap it, in my opinion. But that covers the skills, right? And if we take a look, if I would have less points, I guess I would go like that. Spin cutter, like back in the day, well, a long time ago I played it like that because I didn't have enough points. Dark actually when I maxed. This one you don't need to have any points at all. Maelstrom you want to have 7, but even that one, if you have little, you can go 4. Want to have that one max. I guess like this. I think everybody would have points to do this, right? This is pretty good. And then when you get points here, I would just put them in here to get the triple spin, right? After that, you start going into Earth Cleaver, right? You get to level 55, right? Then you would like take just the highest damage skill. So Blitz Rush, a point into that. You go to Soul Absorber. Put an extra point there. Void Strike. Of course, you want to have Wind Cut Max as well. And yeah, if we take a look at the runes here, I should have gone through that first, I guess. I run Bleed on Wind Cut because we use it a lot. You could also use that on Spin Cutter though. I use Rage on Spin Cutter for attack and movement speed. You could swap those around if you want to. Dark Axle, I go Gale Wind. You can use Protection Rune on this, but I prefer Gale Wind for just faster use of the skill. Soul Absorber, Gale Wind. Earth Cleaver, Overwhelm for more stagger damage. Maelstrom, I did use Bleed before, but actually at the point I'm at in the game now, sometimes I go out of mana. It's not often, but if you can just stand and just use your rotation all the time, you actually will go out of mana. So I use this one, the focus rune there. Blitz Rush, I use the best Gale Wind that I have, and I did get the legendary not too long ago. Void Strike, I do use Wealth Rune, the legendary one as well. If you don't have that, just use purple. Wait, did I go through Soul Absorber? Yeah, Gale Wind on Soul Absorber. You can use Wealth Rune on this. Personally, I don't feel like I need to, so I'd rather go for Gale Wind. But if you want to and you feel like you have issues with the orb generation, just put a Wealth Rune on that one as well. And then we have skill tripods as well. Click that button there and you just click the ones you want. I would ideally like focus on the ones that have damage. And the crit chance, right? The cooldown for me, honestly, with the skill rotation doesn't matter too much. So yeah, you can just see what I have right here, right? Fist of Darkness, Half, really big ones. Even Swift Fingers to get faster use of Soul Absorber. So definitely would recommend to get those. Earth Cleaver. This doesn't really matter that much, you know. Nice to have. Like I would focus on Soul Absorber. Getting the Orb Control, I guess, on these skills are pretty nice too. Dark Order too. Blitz Rush. Get the crit here. And the damage, really good as well. Definitely would focus on those for the damage. Orb Control and Void Strike is nice. And yeah, that's kind of what I would do. When it comes to gems, the most important one is Search, because it does like half for DPS, this skill alone, right? So that's the most important one. So try to get the highest gem for that. The rest one, I feel like it's a bit overkill having them this high, because it doesn't really change too much. But I would prioritize Search, right, for damage. You go Blitz Rush for damage. You go Soul Absorber for damage. Those three is what I would push the most on. Then I have Void Strike damage. And then the rest is just cooldown gems, right? Soul Absorber, Dark Axle, Spin Cutter, Maelstrom, right? Void Strike, yeah. Thing is, the cooldown, I think the cooldown reductions I have here works really well, but I think like I don't need this high, because you will get so much cooldown reduction when you actually go into Diff Trance, right? Take a look at the cards. There are multiple sets you can run. This is a really good one when you get the crit chance on this one. If you don't have that, don't run it. The dark damage reduction is not worth. If you don't have this card set or the other ones I'm gonna go through, just go the HP one. So if we go into the card sets here, this is the one I'm talking about. If you don't have any good set, slap this one on. 12% HP, better than nothing. Otherwise, you want to get the Lost Wind with the crit, 7% crit, pretty big for your search. Later on for endgame, in terms of Legion raid, you want to get the Light of Salvation set, but you need to get at least so that it changes the damage to the Holy. I'm not sure if it's worth to run then, but yeah, you want the Holy damage at least. So you need like at least 12 Awakening. I don't know if it's worth to use then even, but yeah, 12 or 18 Awakening I would assume for it to be worth. But that's like a long-term goal. It's gonna take a long time before you get that. There is another set that's pretty good though, and that's 3 Umar families, which is back attack damage. 2% only here. I did use this for a bit. When you get it 15 piece awakened, you get 10%, and that's actually when it could be really good to use as well. You could pair this up with something else. But yeah, I would just mainly try to focus on getting a Lost Wind and Light of Salvation. If we take a look at the actual build, this is what I'm running right now. So this is the gear set that you want to get later on. You'd get this from Valtan, and you also get it from vykas. He drops mats. You can currently only do 2 entropies, so the helm and also the weapon. Gives a pretty good 2-piece bonus, which is 55% crit damage. The 4-piece is 17% crit chance, and 6-piece is 21% back attack damage, which is insane. So I'm currently running 2-piece entropy, and then I also have 2-piece of salvation, which gives you 14% damage as well. So this combo right here, pretty good. And then of course we also have the 2-piece from Argos that gives us 15% crit chance in total. Before you get to Legion raid, you want to run a 5-piece Argos set, right, with the crit chance, and the weapon you should have from Abyss, because that set is not good and you only need 5-piece. So yeah, that's what you run in terms of gear set, right? And then when it comes to stats, don't go anything else than specialization and crit. I've seen a lot of rainbow stuff. No, you go specialization, because specialization gives you search skill damage, which is 50% of our total damage most of the time. You get skill cooldown reduction 45%, which is 45% of this one right here. So 3 orbs, it's 50% skill cooldown, and then 50% of 45. So let's say that's 50. We would get 75% cooldown reduction instead of 50. Really good. Also get more awakening skill damage, and yeah, Just gives us everything we need. Cooldowns and search damage. Then you put the rest into crit. So from the necklace you will have crit as a secondary stat. So you get a bit more crit chance. So you can easier crit with search, right? But yeah, I think that covers the build section. I guess I can just show you my build. I recently did up to relic, right? Currently I do have 5 engravings, as I said. The 4 best ones, and then disrespect as an extra one. And yeah, I was actually not gonna go disrespect, but I did get it on the relic. And it's always been an engraving I've been looking at, because it is one of those that you can kind of try to get for free, especially as a blade. So try to go for 4 of them, or 3 of them if you are at Argos level, and try to get one for free as well. So yeah, I found this really good necklace. In my opinion, the way you should build it, you get a necklace that have 1 stat that you need, engraving, that have +5. The second one is just whatever, and then you go for high quality, because necklace, the quality matters a lot. Meanwhile, on earrings, the stats means even less, and rings, it's even less than that. So make sure you get a good quality neck. And then earring, it matters a little bit more, but I wouldn't care too much about quality. So here I have search free, because I do have 2 legendary books here, adrenaline and search. Definitely would recommend to get that for search, because it makes it easier to get the accessories, right? So 3-5 on basically all of them, as you can see. Also did try to get the negatives low, so I don't have any red engravings, right? I don't know how much I spent, but I done like 25 relic stones, and the best I got is 7-6. So if I would have 7-7 or like 8-7 or 9-7, this would have been way easier. Even with a 7-6 stone, I managed to get this, and I didn't pay much at all, to be honest. But yeah, that should cover everything except the skill rotation. So yeah, I guess we can check out the skill rotation. This is one of the reasons why I wanted to make this video, because the skill rotation and stuff I used in the old video is not as good as the one I'm using right now. Okay, so if you take a look at the opening, right, so you press Maelstrom into 1 spin cutter, Void Strike, Awakening, instantly press Death Trance to get the additional damage when you go into Death Trance with your Awakening, right? So you saw the damage there. We do it the other way around. You will see that the damage will be less. As you can see here, bam, bam, bam. And then we don't do this. You see the damage way lower, right, compared to otherwise. If you can't do that opener, I would just do Maelstrom, Spin Cutter, Void Strike, Soul Absorber, and then just, yeah, basically Blitz Rush into Earth Cleaver, and then just go into the combo, right? If you have to save the Awakening, but you usually don't have to do that. When it comes to the rotation, you want to open up with Wind Cut, and as soon as you press the button, you go into Death Trance, right? You go into Identity skill, and then you're gonna go into Spin Cutter 3 times. You go back into Wind Cut, into Earth Cleaver, into Soul Absorber, and then into Maelstrom, which I actually did fix now, so it does give you stacks when it hit the boss, right? So into Maelstrom, and then you use Blitz Rush, and then you use Spin Cutter, and then lastly Void Strike, and then you can just hit Search. So it would look something like this, right? But yeah, Wind Cut, Spin Cutter, Wind Cut, Earth Cleaver, Soul Absorber, Blitz Rush, Spin Cutter, Void Strike. Sometimes you just have to tap that one, right? And then Search. And you just keep repeating it like this, right? Of course, you will not get like this amount of free DPS most of the time. It would look quite different sometimes. Sometimes you go in, you do a Wind Cut, and then maybe you go in and do a Soul Absorber. You can do another Spin Cut. Want to make sure you use Blitz Rush and Soul Absorber though, because they do a lot of damage. Right, so Blitz Rush and the Soul Absorber, always try to do them for damage. Void Strike doesn't do too much damage. And not all of the time you can do a full one, so you just tap it and it will lay on the floor and will give you more stacks, right? So it's all like situational when it comes to that. But yeah, that should cover everything. If I did miss anything, put it in the comment section below and I will answer it as fast as I can. But I hope this was helpful though. And if you are interested in more videos like this, then make sure you hit that subscribe button. I also do stream Lost Ark quite a lot on twitch.tv/widdz, so if you want to catch me live and want to ask me something there, feel free to. But with that said, I catch you guys on the stream or in the next YouTube video.